coming up.
I met my rapist on a dating app.
The sinister world of online love.
Is almost a second global pandemic.
Exposing a virtual hunting ground.
One click, the stranger's already in the bedroom.
Where no one is safe.
She goes, I went and met someone after school today. He wasn't a 15-year-old boy at all.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
It used to be relatively easy. When love was in the air, those lucky enough to be touched by it simply got on with working out its wonder. Now, though, love is just as likely to be searched for on a computer or smartphone. And while there are many, many success stories, this is not one of them. And that's because online matchmaking has been well and truly hijacked by evil. Internet dating has led to an unprecedented rise in sexual violence. A wave of crime so extensive and so serious, experts are likening it to a second global pandemic. And a warning, this story is confronting. Longing for a loving, hopefully long-term relationship and looking for it online is nothing unusual these days.
It was actually my first time using a dating app.
But even so, when Sarah Rosenberg matched with a man on the dating app Bumble, she was apprehensive. Part excitement, part nerves, she decided to take things slowly. How long after connecting or matching online did you meet in person?
It was a few months, and once I saw him the first time, it didn't stop. We saw each other pretty much every day after that.
At first, things went well, but then one night, the unimaginable happened. Sarah, who was unwell, told her boyfriend she couldn't be intimate. Being vulnerable sparked a violent assault that would change her life forever.
He was saying to me, while he was beginning to thrust, I knew you never loved me. I knew you were thinking about other boys when you were with me. I started kicking my legs and trying to get some leverage and pull him off me.
The details are confronting, and it gets worse.
It started escalating until I was screaming in his ear, stop. And then he put his hand around my throat and he used my neck as leverage.
So he was choking you while he was raping you?
Yeah. And I was pulling and pulling, and finally he let go. And I remember just gasping for breath. And he reached beside my head and grabbed a pillow. And he slammed it on my face, pressed his hands down and smoothed it really tight and pushed. And I remember when he was done, he let go and I just crumpled.
Sarah is incredibly brave to speak out. Sadly, she's one of a growing number of people experiencing sexual violence after meeting someone on a dating app. The Australian Institute of Criminology surveyed 10,000 people and a staggering 74% had been on the receiving end of sexual violence, either online or in person. That's 3 out of 4 users.
I think it's bigger than we could imagine.
This is causing harm to emotional, to mental health, to physical well-being at a scale that I don't think we could have ever predicted, and that most people, professionals, parents, caregivers, are unaware of.
Doctors Joanna Tully and Janine Rouse are forensic specialists. For the past decade, they've been treating a growing register of sex crime victims who met their offenders online.
It seemed to me that these victims had an added complexity to their sexual assaults. Like there was an added layer of shame and stigma. Shame that they had swiped right on the person that would eventually sexually assault them. And just this difficulty reconciling the violent sexual assault that happened with the charming online persona of that person beforehand. They felt they really knew them.
Young single mum B was ready for a new start when she started scrolling the apps. What were you looking for?
Love. Yeah, probably desperately looking for love.
She met up with her offender just hours after matching online. B was hoping for romance, but he had other ideas.
I was having a weekend away from my home with family, so I thought I'd meet up with someone, close by. He was handsome, he had a job, the conversation was pretty normal, flowed. He didn't seem to mind that I was a mother. He looked safe.
At what point did you start to feel uncomfortable?
When he wanted to hook up, kiss. I let that happen, and I sort of wanted to end it there. But he wanted more, in the car, in public, in the car park. And I said no. But no, he didn't want to take no for an answer. So he hopped over the centre console and laid on top of me in the front passenger seat. He really pressed himself right down, chest to chest, making it clear that I wasn't going to move, that he had a power over me. And then that's when I was freaking out in my head. Will I get out of this car? And how much further is this going to go? But he made it clear that I wasn't going to leave without something.
It was an awful predicament. Bea realised too late that she was in danger and she had no way of escaping.
He was like, yeah, you're going to give me oral sex or I'm just going to keep driving. And then he did eventually pull over on the side of the road. And had to give him what he wanted.
And when he left you on the side of the road, how were you feeling?
Really shit. Really horrible. Disgusting, dirty. Disappointed in myself for putting myself in that position.
Where have we got that?
These doctors hear stories like Bea's far too often, and they're determined to do something about it.
What do you see, assuming you see the very worst cases of users of these sites who end up in your clinics?
There are cases, for example, now, multiple cases where victims have gone to meet someone in real life and it's not just that person that was there. They've invited multiple other buddies and the victim is sexually assaulted by multiple people. There are other cases where the victim might go to the offender's house and think that things are going to be fairly relaxed and they're going to have a meal, etc. And the offender has other ideas and doors are locked and that victim is no longer free to leave. The platforms are being used to meet victims. Now it's sharing images, blackmail, sextortion, and now we're even seeing instructional. So online space is being used to share how-to guides of how to sexually assault people or how to facilitate the drugging of people to sexually assault them. I mean, this is how quickly the use of online spaces has evolved.
For most who fall victim to sexual violence, the thought of pressing charges is overwhelming. Bea was too scared and ashamed to report her incident or the man involved.
I just thought I'm so stupid. Yeah, you feel really, really dumb. I should never have gotten in the car. I went home, I had a shower and act like it never happened.
There must be so many cases that go unreported.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we see is the tip of the iceberg, but it's long been our concern that particularly for technology-facilitated sexual assault, there are those additional barriers to reporting. And a lot of that was I complicit. I went there. I liked this person. I was
connected.
absolutely.
I shared images.
Yeah.
I did all these things.
Did I ask for this? Is this my fault?
It's my fault. This is not their fault.
Perhaps most disturbing has been the discovery that children are getting caught up in this murky world. Coming up, the growing number of kids meeting their abusers online.
With one click in your room of your child, the stranger's already in the bedroom.
Forensics is all about gathering evidence. As a specialist in child sexual assault cases, this is where Dr. Joanna Tully does some of her toughest but most important work. And alarmingly, she's seeing an increasing number of underage victims who have been active on dating and social media sites.
So how many of your assaults would have some connection to an online site?
So in our data, of the children that came to us reporting a technology-facilitated sexual assault, 50% of those had met their offender using Snapchat.
50%? That's a huge number.
And it's not just social media. Dr. Tully says children are accessing adult dating sites, and the consequences are dire.
You could argue that what we are encountering here is almost a second global pandemic of the 21st century in terms of the sheer scale of child abuse and exploitation in the online space.
It's a terrifying reality Mum Alison has lived since her daughter accepted a friend request from a boy who said he was 15 on the messaging service Snapchat 4 years ago. Her daughter was looking for friendship. They chatted for just 5 days, then agreed to meet up at a train station where she was lured into a toilet cubicle. What happened next was swift and brutal.
He was actually 19. He wasn't a 15-year-old boy at all. And he goes, "We need to find a room." And she's like, "What?" And then he led her into the cubicle and she froze. He stood between her and the door of the cubicle and he asked her to give him oral sex. He asked her to let him have anal sex with her and also vaginal sex. And he took photos throughout, getting her, and he knew exactly what he wanted.
Traumatised, alone and still in shock, the teenager made her way home.
And she went to her room. So I followed her. Said, "What happened?" She said, "Nothing. I just need to have a shower. I just need to have a shower. And I was like, "Oh." And then it came out in the next couple of minutes that she'd been raped at a train station by someone she'd met online. And she said, "I need to have a shower." And I said, "Well, I'm really sorry, darling, but you can't. You can't have a shower." Because I know in my head you need to do a rape kit. And I ran out to the street. I had my phone and I called 000.
Police went to the toilet cubicle. They collected evidence, then tracked down the man responsible. But under the consent laws at the time, he couldn't be charged.
Because she didn't fight, because she didn't verbally say no, they said they can't press charges. He got off it, scot-free. He got interviewed, he said, "Yep, I did all of that." He didn't deny any of it. People put a lot of money into having security for their house, and locks and doors and cameras to keep people out. You don't realise that a device in a bedroom has already let the entire world in, and with one click, in your room of your child, the stranger's already in the bedroom.
It's one of the toughest areas for law enforcement, and no one knows that better than Superintendent Jane Doherty. As Chief of the New South Wales Sex Crimes Unit, she and her team see the very worst of humanity, and much of it is now presenting online.
In my 34 years of policing, you think you've seen it all, and then you see something else. Unfortunately, there are bad actors everywhere, whether that's in the real world or the online world. And it's about us and everyone, the community, the dating apps, the e-safety, the police, everyone working together to make it as safe as we can. And one of the biggest ways we can do that is protecting ourselves and our children by educating ourselves. Being aware of things like mothers that are on dating sites. Don't tell people about your kids at the start, because we do have offenders that will start a relationship with a single mother. She thinks it's to have a romantic relationship with her, but it's actually about getting access to their kids. So it's about making ourselves aware, protecting ourselves and putting up that little bit of a shield.
To make dating apps safer, Australia has a new code of conduct which came into force last month. It's a world first and requires the apps to keep a firm eye on users, making reporting easier and banning offenders. It sounds like a good step, but here's the catch. For the app companies, it's voluntary.
The bottom line is there is nothing to stop a rapist or a domestic violence offender from jumping on any dating app, matching with any woman or man, and repeating that behaviour.
And that's where the code of conduct for the apps comes in that once they're reported to them, they have certain obligations.
In terms of enforcement, though, that code is pretty toothless, isn't it?
Well, it's more than we had previously. And the E-Safety Commissioner are continuing to work to strengthen their powers in relation to those.
I mean, surely there could be a screening process where if you are an offender, there's got to be a red flag to let other people on those sites know.
We welcome all of these changes and we work closely with E-Safety so that we make sure that we're all moving in the same direction.
It's hardly surprising that a growing number of Australians are moving in an entirely different direction. Disenchantment with the online experience has revived in-person matchmaking.
What are you looking for tonight?
I think the same thing everyone that's here is looking for, really, just a significant other, something meaningful, someone to share your life with, really.
Make sure your name tag is clearly visible throughout the night so your daters know who they're dating. Here.
Tonight, 26 strangers are meeting at a Sydney bar, hoping to form a connection. And there's not a smartphone in sight. Brenda Van started her company, Dating Apps Suck, 3 years ago after hearing and experiencing disaster stories. Business has never been better. What do your events offer that the apps don't?
I would personally say it's that human element. So with apps, everything's been very digitised, everything has paywalls behind it. They've gamed the system of dating in order to make money.
What sort of stories do your users tell you about bad experiences?
Well, too many to count. Women don't feel safe. Women don't feel like they want to use the apps anymore. It's not trusted. We don't know who the guys are.
Are the apps about looking for love or looking for sex?
I think it's both. I think it gets, the lines are so blurred in there. There's people looking for love, there's people looking for sex, and I found the biggest challenge is for the people looking for love to find the other people looking for love.
Sarah Rosenberg thought she'd found love on an app, but ended up in a harrowing court process after reporting that the man she met online had violently raped her. Was he charged?
He was charged.
Over your assault?
He was charged with 2 counts of rape, 2 of suffocation and 2 of strangling.
Ultimately, Sarah didn't get the justice she so desperately wanted.
He was found not guilty on all 6 counts. A trial scheduled for 1 month was collapsed in 7 days. It really felt like a farce. Like, why are we even pretending rape is a crime if this was going to happen? And next time, maybe he'll have a knife. And the girl won't be so lucky, and there'll be really different charges that he's up for.
Alison and her husband Rian tell us their daughter has come a long way since her attack. Now 21, she's working as a nurse in the public health system.
She's doing a great job, but it's been a bit of a hard climb. It's been a really hard climb.
These women have survived the very worst modern technology has to offer. A space that's evolving at an alarming pace with clearly inadequate protections. The challenge for us all is to get ahead of it.
How do you approach the apps now, given your experience? What would be your advice for other users? Trust your gut. Talk to your friends. The onus shouldn't be on us to have to do that, though. You should be able to trust that these people that are being offered up to you on apps are who they say they are.
Remember, if you or anyone you know is a victim of sexual violence, help is available. Call 1-800-RESPECT, which is 1-800-737-732. Hello, I'm Amelia Adams. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.